Hi everyone, Jeremy here from RoboDK. In today's tutorial, we will take a deeper look into our plugin for Alphacam. In the first video, I showed you guys how to create a simple robot path using a milling project created in Alphacam. But here, we will take things to another level. What if the robot is holding an object and the spindles are fixed? In Robotics, we often call that a Remote TCP. The scenario here is pretty simple. We have a robot taking pieces of wood on a table and bringing them to the different spindles. So let's take a look at the end result of our project. Here, the robot takes a part of wood, brings it to the first spindle, engraves a square path, then it brings it to the second spindle, engraves a round path, and finally, the last spindle engraves some kind of star path. This is pretty good. Once the path is done, the robot brings back the first part on the table. And now, it starts again with the second piece of wood. Simple, but pretty interesting. I'll show you guys a bit of the different objects we have in the station. First of all, we have our robot, which is a Motoman ES200D. We have the different tools we are using on the spindles. We have the spindles themselves, which are placed in the 3 different reference frames here. This is necessary for the good of the demonstration. Here, we have a reference frame called table, which contain pretty much all the targets we need to reach in order to grab the wood pieces. It also contains the table and the wood pieces themselves. Here we also have our 3 milling projects, one for each spindle we are using. And we have the robot program associated to the project. That's pretty much it. We can see here that we have a nice engraving. I'll show you guys how you can achieve that kind of realistic result at the end of the video, so don't leave until the end. I'll show you that little trick. It's pretty cool and pretty simple, you'll see. Now we can go to the wood engraving recording cell, which is the exact same cell as before, but without any work done on it. Okay, now we can go in the Alphacam project. I created that routing path using the Alphacam Ultimate Router, and as you can see, it's first a square path, second a round path, and third a star path. Each one of them have different colors because they were creating using different tools. One color for every tool, which means for us, one color for every spindle we will use in our project. This tab will be available to you if you have the Alphacam robot module in your Alphacam package. To have access to this module, you can contact us directly. We can click on the Launch Robot Integration. It will ask you to select a station. Now back to RoboDK. The path is just being imported in the activated reference frame. In that case, the activated reference frame was the one with the robot. So every path was exported directly onto that frame. We see here those green lines. Those are the machining paths. Okay, first thing to adjust is the tools. The Alphacam plugin imported one tool for every path. It did so on the robot flange. In a normal project, that would totally make sense, but for us, right now, it's not correct. RoboDK cannot, by default, understand that you want to hold the object with the robot and not the other way around. What we need to do, instead of giving the length of the tool, is to give the thickness of our robot holder, plus the thickness of our wood part. Here I know the measurements because I created them myself. The length of the part here is 50 millimeters, and the length of the wood part is 35 millimeters. So if I combine those, I'll end up with 85 millimeters. I can put that here and I will do the exact same thing for all of the tools that were imported with the project. Now I can close that. Okay. This was the first thing to do. Second thing will be to open the first robot machining project. As I already explained in the first video, here we have our robot, but here we have no reference frame. This time, we want to use the first spindle. So tool number 1. I'll click tool number 1. We can already see that the path is now attached to this reference frame. This is not perfect for the moment, but we are going in the right direction. Now we use the ball and 10 millimeters. This is perfect. And next things we need to change is here in the select algorithm. At the moment, we have by default the minimum tool orientation change. We can also select tool orientation follows path and robot holds object. The last one is exactly what we are trying to do. We are going to click on that button and update. Now we see that the path is exactly on top of our flange at the exact place where our wood pieces will be. If I update and I simulate, I can see that I'm following the square path exactly like we wanted. I go back to the transition target and I can do the exact same thing for the second one. Make sure to use tool 2 because you don't want to engrave with the same spindle in that case. Again, change for robot holds object, update. The path was created at the right spot. And again, do the exact same thing with the star path. We can now see that all our paths are at the right place. Next thing we need to do is to ensure that the spindle is rotating when we try to engrave into the wood. So again, in the Robot Machining Project tab, I'll click on the Program event and that window will pop up. Here we have the path start and the path finish. For an engraving project, I recommend you to use the path approach and path retract. I will deactivate the path start and path stop. This will make sure that the spindle is activated before touching the wood. Like I said, the rotation needs to start before the approach of the curve follow project and stop after the retract movement is completed. I'll just call that spindle 1 on and spindle 1 off. Honestly, that won't do anything in real life. This is more to show you guys where you should put the inputs and outputs related to your engraving or machining project. If we had a subroutine called spindle on, with some instructions for the robot to start the spindle, it would be executed afterward. Now we need to do the same thing for the other two spindles. I will fast forward a bit the video. If you want, you can use the setting options of YouTube to slow down the video and get back to a normal speed. Now we have our spindle spinning when it's time to engrave. Excellent. Okay, next thing, I already created a long main program. In fact, it's just the robot bringing the wood pieces one after the other through the engraving process. To make things clearer for you guys, I changed the name of the milling projects according to the different shapes we are engraving. So square, circle, and star. Considering that, I need to change the name of the robot programs for square, circle, and start. Now we can activate the main program by double-clicking on it. Here we see that the spindle is following the path as it's supposed to do. But during the approach phase, we can see a bit too much rotation around axis 4 and 6. The movement between the transition target and the engraving path should be fluid. Okay, let's finish that simulation. Perfect. I'll just press escape. Okay, let's go on top of the main. I will click on replace objects. That will bring back all the objects at their original positions. Let's also bring the robot back home. Here we go. We can see that when we start the square, there's a little motion of the axis 4 and 6. This is created by the default configuration of the starting point for the square path. Let's improve that. If I open here the robot machining project for the square, and if I go back to the transition target, this is a position that I use before every single engraving. I mostly use it to avoid collision and to reset my robot position at a known place. I can go right down to the preferred joint for the starting point. If I just put my mouse on top of it and I use my scroll wheel down, I can see that the robot appears where it will start its path. This is clearly not a good configuration. This one is not better. This one is good, but if I go back to the transition, I can see that this big joint here is pointing in the direction of the table. I need to find something that resembles the transition configuration. So if I go back to the beginning here, this one, I have this one, that one. I think this one would be interesting. I see. I have the other one here. I have two options, which are this one and that one. I'll go for this one for the moment. I'll go back to transition and I'll update and simulate. We can see that the motion is even bigger. That means that the second option that we found was maybe the better one. So let's go back to transition, update and simulate. This is interesting, but I can see that I have a lot of motion around the axis 6. If I can have the exact same value for all the axes except for axis 6, that should do the trick. So if I go back to transition, update, simulate, this looks better. Okay, let's do the exact same thing for the other two spindles. Again, I will fast forward that part of the video. Like I said before, if you want to see my action at a normal pace, just modify the speed of the video in YouTube. You can do that by clicking the little gear at the bottom of your screen. Now the video is going at 4 times the speed I recorded. So if you change the speed in YouTube to 0.25, you will end up with a video going at a normal pace. Now for the last test, we need to escape that, go back to the home position and start the program and take a look at the end result. Okay, so we follow the square. The excess movement between the transition is gone. Same thing here. We follow the rotation around the circle. And here, last one, we follow the star-shaped path. It's looking good. This is perfect. Now that everything is working in the simulation, we can go on our Modoman and create the real robot program. We need to keep in mind that the end goal of RoboDK is to create programs that actually work in real life. So right click on it, click on select post processor, make sure that you use the right Motoman post processor. Click on OK, and then you can go, for example, on your Square subroutine. You can right click and generate robot program. Here we can see that we have a fairly simple robot program to create a square. Square is a simple shape that requires only 4 move-Ls. But if we went on the star program, which contained more move-Ls, we can see that we have a lot more position to reach and a lot more move to execute. Okay, we are near the end of the video, but before wrapping all that up, I promise you a little trick, so here we are. This trick is for those of you who use RoboDK as a simulation tool. So maybe you want to show your client the end result of a robot integration project, or maybe you want to do publicity for your business. You know, that kind of project that requires you a bit more of a polished finish, a bit more design, and where aesthetic is a bit more important. Here, I want to visually show that work have been done on the wood parts. So I want them to look actually engraved, just like you see here. So here's my little trick. If I go on the reference frame table, you'll see all the objects of the station. Here I have the rough parts and the finished ones. They are called part and finish part. In fact, the only thing I did to make my demo more realistic was to put those 2 parts, one on top of the other, and play with the visibility. I started with the part 1, 2, 3 visible and the finished part 1, 2, 3 hidden. Then, at the end of the start engraving program, I switched the visibility to part hidden and finished part visible. It gives us a nice little look, and honestly, it took me maybe 10 minutes to implement. It's pretty much just creating the part with the engraving in your CAD software, importing it as a step file, and placing it at the exact same position as the rough part. You will be able to play with this current station. I will leave a link in the description to explain you how you can download that station and play with it yourself. That's pretty much everything for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe to our channel and like that video. I'll be posting a bunch of other videos covering every pieces of RoboDK. My goal is really to give you the tools to use our software as effectively as possible. Speaking of which, if you have any topic that you want us to cover in one of those videos, feel free to write it down below in the comment section. And if you have any technical question about RoboDK, visit our robot forum. Our community will be happy to help you with your project. That being said, have a good day, guys.